Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
4 years ago. Fail university entrance exams terribly. Parents are worried. Thankfully, they were wealthy and decided to either send me abroad to pay my way through or send me to an intense boarding school for 2 years so I can get my shit together. Suffering from severe depression and self-esteem issues, talk my parents into sending me to the boarding school instead so I can get my shit together. They tried to initially talk me out of it, as the boarding school was famed for sending people to the breaking point, end up caving in like they always do, and send me to the boarding school. Upon arrival, I immediately regretted the decision. 1 meal a day and studying from 7 in the morning till 2 a.m. Move in with my roommates at the end of the first night. The first thing we all notice is that there is a black hole. Best way I can describe it is a black circular stain on the wooden floors. We all decide it's nothing important, set up our things, then head to bed. A few grueling weeks later, one night, one roommate brings up a rumor he heard from passing around notes during our 1 meal break. Apparently, a few years ago, the previous occupants of our room took their lives by stealing masking tape and a charcoal briquette burner from the kitchen, usually used to grill meat for dinner. Although it was 1 meal a day, the food was actually pretty great. My home country is the only place that uses such briquettes, I believe. Large circular shape with holes punctured straight through it. You light it by simply sticking a lit match through one of the holes. My friend continues and says that the charcoal was too weak to kill them outright, and made them extremely weak. They were too weak to call for help, and ended up dying from a strange combination of oxygen deprivation and despair. We clam up and finish studying before bed. A few days later, I'm in my room alone studying. My roommates decided to sneak out through the back from the shower rooms to sneak a cigarette. Ultimately decide not to follow, since the penalty for even dozing off during class was a harsh beating, legal in my country. Studying chemistry, can still remember it perfectly. Hear a knocking from inside my desk drawer. Decide to ignore it, pretty sure it's a rat. Although the building is pretty clean, I notice a few sneaking around now and then when we go to the toilets, basement. The knocking continues. I actually chuckle a bit, imagining rats fucking. All of a sudden, the knocking stops. Don't laugh. I freak out a bit, wonder if it's the roommates playing a prank on me. I decide not to let them get the best of me. If you don't want me to laugh, stop doing such silly things, you piece of shit. Quiet for a few minutes. I'm shaking slightly, suddenly remembering the story of the black stain. I manage to calm down and continue studying chem. You know, it hurts so much more on the other side. I wish I didn't do it. The pain of living is nothing compared to this. I proceed to shit my pants. I shit more pants when the knocking gets slightly louder and the voice is a bit louder, and it continues talking in that fashion. Just as I'm about to pass out, shaking like crazy, my roommates come back into the room. I shit my pants again. I'm seriously about to cry and throw up at the same time. My roommates back away, wondering if I snapped and was dangerous. We joked about snapping and killing each other all the time. I slowly get into bed, curl up, and fall asleep. I don't tell them what happened until a few days later. Boy, living air. I have a bunch of nope stories and stories I heard from the other guys there. We still meet up for drinks sometimes, shame some of them off themselves later. Here's one of a good guy named Panda. We all had assigned seating for everything. Lockers, desks, toilets, shower, you name it. Even our meal trays were assigned, down to the chopsticks. I remember sitting next to this really chubby kid. In my country, fat to obese people are really rare. Most kids during mealtime passed around notes, and the lunchroom overseers, who were pretty much caterers that got paid more to make sure we ate everything and didn't talk, let it slide. I didn't see really anyone interesting to talk to. One day during mealtime, Panda slides me a note. "Hey, what area are you from?" We start note talking for a few days. I notice he started leaving more and more food on his tray. Each time he does that, he gets beaten by the dean of the boarding school. He has to stand in the middle of the mess hall and say, "I apologize to all the rice farmers of my country for wasting food." One day, I finally cave in and ask what's wrong. He tells me he has these really vivid dreams at night. It's always the same recurring dream. He's alone in his room and on his bed when the door slowly opens. He squeezes his eyes tight in the dream, but can hear heavy footsteps come closer. He says in the dream he can't control what he does and ends up opening his eyes. 3 unknown guys were staring right into his face, and all of them looked like skeletons with eyes. He says they ask him how he's been and start to put their bony hands on him. The bell rings, ending the mealtime. A few days later, he gets carried out on a stretcher. He offed himself by extracting the blade from his pencil sharpener and cutting his wrists and jugular. I snuck into his room to see if there was anything I could steal while there was a commotion in the hall. I didn't know it was him. As soon as I get in, I hear footsteps returning down the hall. I just grab a notebook off the desk and jump out the window, first floor, run back to my room and hop back in through the window. I put the notebook behind my textbooks and forget about it. One snowy day, there are no classes thanks to New Year's, the only day off a year. We're still expected to study though. I'm studying when my mind grows listless, and I decide to strike up a conversation with my roommates. One thing leads to another, and I tell them about Panda. The oldest guy was the only one who was there when the old occupants of that room were still around. He says all the occupants decided to off themselves and signed a pact. One guy empties the capsules of his antidepressants and scrapes some kind of toxic paint off the radiator. They all join hands and take the pills together. They don't get found for a few hours. 3 of them died, and one guy was somehow miraculously saved. The saved student's parents decide to send him abroad. When the oldest guy first arrived at the boarding school, he said that there was a commotion. In Panda's room, before Panda and his roommates got there, some guy was crying his eyes out, asking them to forgive him. He gets carried out by security. I don't know if it was the depression that everyone had, coupled with harsh schedules and a building with a terrible history, but it's pretty damn normal in this country to know a few stories that happened like this, and it's not that rare to experience them either.
B16. I open an email while my pal is with me. There is a link to a screamer. I don't know it's a screamer, nor have I ever heard of such a thing yet. It tells me to look closely into the picture and listen carefully, so I stick my face to the monitor and set the speakers to max them. Suddenly, a scream trembles the walls of my house while a ghastly jumper jumps at my face. I land at the opposite side of the room. I'm too shocked to move. My trembling pal closes the tab. Let's listen to some music to relax, okay? The speakers are still on max. The music fucking blows like a nuclear bomb. Still traumatized, I hold my head in my hands and start screaming like some madman. My pal curls up on the ground, sobbing, "No, no, no, please." I turn this shit off. I'm even more traumatized. My hands are shaking. My level of shock reached such a state that any sudden move from my pal makes me curl up in fear. Same with him. I can't look in the mirror, nor into his eyes. Shit creeps me out like hell. My younger sister wants to watch Teletubbies in the living room. I come down with my pal like war trauma victims and sit on the couch to be with someone. It's the creepiest movie I've ever seen. Those pale faces and black eyes. Someone end this nightmare. My pal is too scared to go home or even leave the living room. My sister sees our reactions to her sudden moves and starts screwing with us, making sudden moves and boo at us while we curl up in fear, begging her to stop. The worst experience of my life. I don't even know where the nope started.
Be me. About a few months ago, maybe 11:30 p.m., at a friend's apartment, chilling on the sofa bed in the living room watching Repo, the genetic opera, getting drowsy. Suddenly the TV clicks off and the lights start to flicker and get dim. I figure it's just my mind being silly since I'm half asleep. Suddenly, from outside, I hear what sounded like an extremely loud roar followed by a bang that was loud enough to reverberate several times. The lights go out for 2 seconds, then come back on. I do the most fluid, operator-as-fuck tactical roll off the sofa bed to behind it while grabbing my G20 off the small table or stand next to the sofa. I go from roll to grab, and my sights are trained on the door almost instantly. My friend comes sprinting from down the hall with his 870, freaking the fuck out. He asks me if I heard that shit and saw the lights dim or flicker. I tell him I did. He's panicking and aiming at the window on the other side of the room. We stay completely silent and still for about 10 minutes, ready to ventilate anything that tries to come in. We stop aiming at potential entry points and clear the apartment just to be safe. We decide it must have been some wacky shit with the power lines. I decide to call a friend that lives across town. I ask him if he heard anything. He didn't. We pretty much settle that it had to be a transformer or power box going Hiroshima. Still kind of shaken, we stay up until morning daylight. We talk to people in the building and the neighbors. They heard it too. Nothing was in the papers about it. Not really paranormal, I fucking hope, but definitely a nope moment.
This happened to me last year. It might not be very scary to you, but it still scares me when I think about it. Be on the computer around 12 at night. Suddenly everything goes out. Light, computer, clock, TV. Sit in the darkness for about 5 seconds trying to figure out what happened. Blackout, of course. Stumble around my room to find a torch. Going to reset the fuses. About to open my door when I hear a weird sound like something dragging over the floorboards. Must be my little sister. Me and her are the only ones home. Slightly scared, I open my door slowly and shine the light down the hallway. All clear. Head upstairs to check on my little sister. Open her door and look in. She is still sleeping. Close her door and start to head back down the stairs. Hear a sound, like someone running very softly over the floorboards. Nope. Have a tiny freakout. Think maybe my brother is home from his girlfriend's. Head down the stairs with torch ready to clobber any fucker down there. I'm one step from the bottom when I hear the soft running again. This time it's headed towards me. The cat races past the stairs. Head outside to reset the fuses. At the fuse box, about to reset it when I feel uneasy, like I'm being watched. I look around and see no one or nothing out of the ordinary. I look up into the windows of my house, and in my older sister's window, I see a figure standing looking down at me. Nope.jpg. I grab the torch which is in the fuse box, but I drop it. I get it and shine the torch up to the window. However, the light hits the blinds. I jog back inside. I get to the front door, and I'm about to open it, when I hear the sound of someone running over floorboards. The cat came outside with me, so this time it wasn't the cat. Nope. Go inside and arm myself with a bat. I go and wake up my sister and tell her we are going to sleep at our uncle's house.
I was around 14 and went to Tennessee with my dad to visit some family. My aunt lived a decent ways out of town. He was visiting her, and I went for a walk. It was probably 2 or 3 p.m. She lived on a fairly large lot, maybe 10 acres. I walked along the fence surrounding her place, daydreaming. About 3/4 of the way around, in the back corner, I saw an old wooden house off in the woods. I mean old, practically falling down. Being a young teen, of course I had to check it out, so I hopped the fence and headed over. It was half overgrown and half rotten. I went on the porch and looked in the windows. There was lots of furniture still there, and, surprisingly, no beer cans or any sign of teens or bums. I went in and was instantly hit by a blast of cold. Now, for those who don't know this, Tennessee isn't very cold in summer, which it was, so I freaked a little but found the balls to call out and see if anyone was there. Silence. I poked around, checking closets and such. Then I heard a creak upstairs. I froze. It happened again. Then again. Not louder or softer, but exactly the same over and over. I went to the stairs and checked them. They weren't in bad shape, really. So I head up about halfway. There's still a creaking. It's fairly bright and now warm again, so I'm feeling bold. The first door up there is so rotten and swollen from rain getting in that it won't budge. The second door is just a bathroom. The toilet and bath are gone. The third door does open to a room that's almost totally clean. There's dust, but the window is clean. No holes in the walls, no sagging ceiling. And in the corner is a rocking chair, slowly rocking and creaking. I kind of laugh, feeling my big adventure is over. And silly. The chair at this point is mostly stopped, and it clicks in my head. How the hell was it rocking? No wind, no anything. I panic a little and turn to go. The door slams shut. Hard. I have no idea what to think or do. The door opens and slowly swings wide. On the opposite side, the one from the upstairs hall that I had just come through, is a bloody handprint and the word "out" written above it. You can guess the rest. I noped right out of there, straight to my aunt's, and told my dad. Here's the kicker. My dad makes me take him back there. And unlike all the shitty stories around here, the house was still there. The stairs were still there. The bloody handprint was still there and still wet. He saw it, and we both noped our asses out of there. He still tells people the story, a good 15 years later. I've never been so scared in my life.
Last year, wife and I are sleeping. Not sure why, but I woke up, felt fully awake. Arm was asleep. Moving my hand, trying to wake it up. Wonder what time it was. Sit up and lean over wife to see the alarm clock on the nightstand. Notice something in the doorway. Eyes are adjusted to the dark pretty well, and light from the bathroom made it easy to see. Looked like a kid sitting on the floor. Really small, all white. Kind of long arms and legs. Can't see a face clearly. just sitting there, absolutely terrified. Freeze up, can't move, just staring at it. Not sure how long, felt like ages. It starts crawling towards the bed. Try to yell. Long whimper comes out. It gets to the edge of the bed, reaches under the covers by my wife's feet. She is totally asleep. It makes a sudden movement. Her whole body jerks violently. It quickly turns and runs out of the room. The door shuts behind it, can move again. Hear it going down the hallway. Not towards the stairs, but further into the house. Wife jerks again. Jump out of bed. Afraid to chase the thing. Wife jerks again. Her eyes pop open. She makes a bizarre sound. Can't breathe. Turn the lights on. She sits up. Can't seem to take a breath. Her face gets dark red. She jerks violently again. Collapses back into bed shaking. Can't get her to wake up. Grab some pants and my keys. Carry her out to the car. She is a little responsive. Can't catch her breath to talk. Phone the hospital on the way there. They meet us in the parking lot. She was unconscious again by the time we got there. People are asking me stuff, trying hard to focus and answer. Asks if she had taken any drugs. No. Her heartbeat and blood pressure were crazy high. She stabilizes after an hour. In ICU for 2 days after that. They did a ton of tests. No idea what was wrong with her. Eventually, she is put in a regular room. I hadn't thought about the thing in our room since we got to the hospital. It suddenly popped back into my mind. She is asleep. I lifted up her bed sheets. There is a little cut above her ankle. Looked like a semicircle, like a thumbnail would leave. Get this awful chill. They keep her 2 more nights, then they will let her go home. Realized I had to go back to the house where that thing was. Had been staying at the hospital or my brother's apartment the last few days. Called my brother to meet us at the house. Got her inside on the couch. She was tired and kind of weak still. Dozed off pretty quick. Got my brother to check upstairs with me. Never really told him why. There was nothing up there. Nothing out of place except in our bedroom. Giant wet spot on the floor. No burst pipes or anything. Just a wet spot. Brother was confused. Just got a towel and cleaned it up. Asked him to stay with my wife, went to the department store and got a doorknob with a lock for the bedroom door. Installed that. Sleep with the door locked ever since. Still can't sleep because of it sometimes. Wife has to go every so often to the doctor to make sure her heart wasn't damaged. Maybe a month ago, starting to warm up. Wife walked into the field behind our house bordering some woods to bird watch. Later that night, casually mentioned she thought she saw a kid playing in the creek. Horrible wave of fear. Not slept well since. Always think I see shit out the corners of my eyes. Going to replace the locks on the doors going outside this weekend.
This happened around 2007. I can't remember the exact date. Be at a friend's Gramps farm, camping with some friends and my girlfriend. The sun starts to set. Me, my girlfriend, and 2 others head out to buy booze while the rest stay in camp to cook. It's a 6-kilometer walk on a dirt road to reach the bar. There's a full moon, so the road is lit enough. I see a really pale man waving in the distance. It looked like he was waving at us as if to draw attention, then pointing at the woods beside him. He was very far, so I assumed I was just seeing things, and didn't mention it because my girlfriend is really scared of this kind of stuff. As we're getting closer to the man, he suddenly jumps into the woods. When we get to where he stood, the bushes on the side of the road are a bit twisted, as if someone walked over them. Nothing to see here. .png. I just keep my mouth shut and keep walking. We reach the bar, get the booze, and go back. By the time we reach the farm, one of my friends mentioned seeing a white man waving and pointing on the road. My girlfriend and the other friends saw nothing. Nope. On that same night, something even stranger happened. Everyone is sleeping in the same tent. It was a really big tent. I start hearing footsteps outside, really close, like it was someone just outside the tent. I think it might be a thief and wake up my friend's uncle. Hearing the footsteps, he grabs his rifle and we head outside. The source of the footsteps was really easy to pinpoint, but looking there was nothing. The footsteps ceased as soon as we headed outside. My friend's uncle ended up sleeping over a tree to guard the camp.
Be me. Be 15 years old and on a field trip with my mom to a famous palace in my country, Rundale's Palace, Latvia. The palace is said to be haunted by a lady, just like every other palace or castle in Europe. Not this shit again. The stories are interesting, but they're getting old fast. I'm approaching the palace with my mom and the tour group. A big white place, quite beautiful, but very hot outside. No trees to make shade, only a big white dirt courtyard. I go inside. Sweet Jesus, have mercy. JPEG. The place is so refreshing and cool. All my sweat disappears. I'm finally enjoying myself. I continue on in. I walk around some big, beautiful halls with paintings on the ceiling. I see the Tsar's bedroom. Pretty neat stuff. I need to take a piss. I'm bored and tired of the lady speaking in Russian. The language makes me uneasy for some reason. I tell my mom I'm going to go to the bathroom and have a look around. See you in 30 minutes. I take a piss and continue on to the left side part of the palace. The first few rooms have people in them. I walk for about a minute and I can no longer hear any people. I'm all alone. I'm walking through the rooms and looking around. Then I hear footsteps behind me. I think nothing of it. I continue walking. I hear footsteps again. Wait a sec. I'm alone. Hello? Silence. Whatever, I continue walking. I hear footsteps behind me again. I turn around again. Hello? Is anybody there? I walk back through the doorway I just passed to see if there's anyone behind the walls. Nobody. I'm feeling a bit sick at this moment. Quite scared. The next room is the last one on this side of the palace. But it has a red border in the doorway to keep people out. To not ruin the artifacts or something. I go up to the border and look inside the room. The curtains move, and there are footsteps from inside the room. I go into a slight panic. I'm fucking scared. Nope. I've never been back there, and I've been suffering from anxiety since then.
Be 4 or 5 years old. Live in house with grandparents and crazy uncle. Crazy uncle often talked to someone who he referred to as the lady in white when nobody was actually there. Be home alone with babysitter. Babysitter falls asleep on the couch while I'm playing with Legos on the floor. Suddenly feel really cold. Look up. Boy about my age looking at me and smiling. Offer to play Legos with him, he says sure. Start playing Legos with new friend. Says his name is Charlie. Ask him why he's at my house. Charlie gets quizzical look on his face and says, me and mommy live here silly. Ask him who his mommy is. He hushes up and looks scared, like he said too much. Babysitter wakes up, goes off on me about making a mess with my Legos. Start to say that Charlie was playing with them too, but when I look down, he's gone. Be 8 years later, be alone in my room, playing on my N64. Get cold all of a sudden, look up, see woman in white dress and veil looking at me. Start freaking out, lose the ability to move. Door busts open, crazy uncle in doorway. looking right at Lady, throws some sort of dust at her out of a leather bag. The lady vanishes. Uncle gives me a hug and takes me to his room to sleep that night. Have no encounters since then. Be last year. Crazy uncle's funeral. Overhear his wife say that he died of a heart attack. His last words, "Stay away from me, you bitch."
Be addicted to meth. Around 2006-ish, living in Seattle, I can't pay rent, so I move in with my drug dealer, Sam. The first night I'm there, he says we're going camping. LOL, okay. We go out to the middle of the woods, away from all campsites because we all plan to be up for at least 3 straight days doing meth. There are about 20 people there, I know 3 or 4 of them. We're all camping out, having a great time, fires and music and rampant drug use. I meet a girl and try to steal away into the woods to fuck. I'm wandering through the darkness, holding some random's hand. I find black army boots. I recognize them as Sam's. Weird. I hear, "Who's there?" in a scratchy voice. It sounds like Sam. I'm on meth. I think I'm tripping. I call out, "Hello?" We both get up. I see Sam in the bushes wearing only a bloody t-shirt. No underwear, nothing else. I think he's injured, but I don't see any wounds, though. I put on clothes and take him back to camp. I get him dressed. He looks shaken as fuck, not excited and euphoric like he should be on meth. I'm super talkative because I'm on meth, trying to figure out what he's been doing. He is usually really talkative and sarcastic, even when fucked up. Now, nothing. I think nothing of it because, come on, we're all tripping out. I decide to give him a hit of ice to calm him down. I basically have to light it for him. He seems confused, still barely talking. He doesn't know how to smoke. He hits it and immediately starts coughing, convulsing, wheezing, making horrible screeches. I give him water. Everyone is crowding around now. I put him to bed in his car. It's about 2 a.m. now. I try to talk to him while putting him in the back of his truck. He just repeats everything I say, but with fucked up grammar. I remember saying, "You're fine, man, just drink water." He slurs it all together into one long-ass German-sounding word, still coughing up a storm. His voice is scratchy, like he's been screaming for hours. I hear someone at the party go, "Woo!" like people do at parties. He copies the sound exactly with the pitch and everything. I think maybe he did acid or something too. Real weird. I decide to let him be. I go back to the party to try to find the girl. 60 minutes later, another girl is crying, flipping out that her boyfriend is missing. I'm not liking these events. I decide it's time to go. I go back to Sam. His eyes are wide open and orangish yellow. His skin is dark purple. He's cold to the touch. He smells horrible. This dude is dead 100%. He looks like he's been dead for weeks. Nope, mode fully engaged. I drag him out of the car and into the forest. I hear people forming search parties, looking for flashlights, all on meth. I steal Sam's car by myself and drive home. I check myself into rehab the next day, move into a shelter, and never talk to anyone there again.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.